Hey there, Beavemanites and Docutrons. Beaveman here, and I wanted to invite you to subscribe to Beaveman in the Doc on the SoundCloud or Apple Podcast app. Listen, share, and like us on any platform you use to listen to podcasts. Beaveman in the Doc is a podcast brought to you by two idiot veterans who like to discuss their opinions and worldviews on a variety of subjects ranging from goat yoga to modern-day cults. This particular podcast is not child appropriate as it contains explicit content. Now, sit back and relax and enjoy the first episode of our newest podcast on the Renegade Beaver Network. I bring you Beaveman and the Daughter.
Okay, so that's just how it goes. Pokemon Stadium, beating all the foes. I never played it in a chair, I played it on the floor. Every weekend with that Nintendo 64. If I could trade it all, I would go back for more. Play so much Nintendo, man, my thumbs were always sore.
Okay, so welcome to the first episode, session, whatever you want to call it, of Beaveman and the Daughter. As always, for the listeners who've listened to Beaveman and the Doc, I am the Beaveman, and with me is the Daughter. Say hello, Daughter.
Hi.
So many of you may be asking yourself, why? Why do this podcast? Maybe you're not asking yourself that question. I don't know. Maybe you are. So the answer to my question, or the reason why I want to do it, is so that I can spend some time with my daughter and learn about the things that are important to her and see if that will actually help our relationship and to have fun. And that is why. In case anybody wanted to know the answer to that question. And for you, the daughter, why do you want to do this podcast?
You made me.
I did not make you do the podcast. Don't you think it'd be interesting to do?
I guess, yeah.
I think it'd be interesting to talk about some things and get your perspective on it and then get my perspective on it so that way we get more than a one generation perspective on different things. My goal is to try not to swear during this podcast so that it can be for listeners of all ages. Your goal is what?
To be funny for once.
Yeah, you're pretty funny. Your goal should be not to yell and scream at me and make me have to stop the recording. I think that's a good goal. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about what exactly? You got to pick the topic.
Oh, my 21 pet peeves.
Your 21 pet peeves. So by definition, what do you think a pet peeve is then?
Something that annoys you and gets you, like, down to the bone annoyed.
Okay. So like as an example, I doubt this is on your list because I didn't look at your list, but so like fingernails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
But a pet peeve is probably something that's more that you come in contact with more often.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go then. Where today then in the episode is about the daughter's 21 pet peeves. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So pet peeve number 1.
When people assume you know something that you really don't.
Okay. So when people come up to me in restaurants and start speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay. So that happens to me pretty frequently, actually. Not so much anymore as I get older, but so when does that happen to you then?
Sometimes teachers will be like, oh, you guys know this, and we'll be like, no, we don't, and they'll be like, well, I taught you yesterday, and I'm just like, no, you didn't, that was probably the 8th graders or something.
Okay. I thought you were going to say when people assume that you only know how to start a sentence by saying
Yeah, that too.
Oh, okay. So how often do you have the annoyance of pet peeve number 1 for you? Or are you doing this in descending order? Or did you rank them at all?
I didn't rank them.
You didn't rank them, so is this one top on your list? Is it high on your list or not at all?
It's probably the middle.
Somewhere in the middle of the road. So if something really is an annoying pet peeve for you, you're going to say, hey, this one really
Yeah.
gets to me. Okay. All right, that one's kind of mild. That one's not too bad. What else you got?
When people purposely annoy you for fun.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Your older brother does that all the time.
Yeah.
Who else does that to you?
Classmates, or like, they'll be like tapping their pen or something, and we'll be like, stop, and they'll be like, no, you stop. And I'm just like, but stop doing what? It's pretty annoying.
So in that instance, you know what I would do?
Punch them in the face.
Well, no, that'd be overtly violent. You have to accelerate your level of violence. So I think I would just ask if I could borrow their pen or their pencil and then snap it in front of them and then throw it on the ground.
I've done that before, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, see, there you go. And so that's when we talk about this escalation of violence. You don't necessarily have to go right to punching someone in the face.
I guess, yeah.
Okay, so that one I totally see. Let me relate to that one then. How about when people won't stop shaking their leg?
Oh, I know a ton of people who do.
No, I've never met anybody who shakes their leg nonstop all the time, every time you're at dinner, sitting, etc., at a movie, whatever. No, that's not even remotely annoying. Okay, so what else you got?
Hypocrites.
Hypocrites. Okay, and who's a hypocrite? What's a hypocrite? How are they hypocritic? Or not hypocritic in this instance? Hypocritical.
There's a lot, actually. It's mostly like, I guess the definition is if you say not to do something and then you just do it. But a lot of people do it. Teachers do it. Friends do it.
So, do you have any examples?
Well, this one teacher, she tells people not to stereotype and not to be sexist, yet she does it even though we tell her not to.
Uh-huh. I think one of the good things about podcasting is that, one, it's not really regulated to say where someone says that you can't say this, you can't do this, because it's kind of free airway, if you will. You can say and do whatever you want to do, but obviously within reason. The same reason why I call myself Beaveman and I call you the daughter. It's not like we think that there's going to be lots of people who listen and identify and can say exactly who you're talking about, but I see what you mean. I think that in the world, though, in general, that most people stereotype.
Yeah.
I think in general, and I've had this discussion on Beaveman with the doc, and I've said that I think most people have some degree of racism, and it's just a matter of, are you racist against that person because of their culture or their beliefs, or is it because of not that person by themselves, and it just happens to be that they might be a different race or a different sex, gender, etc. But I can see what you're talking about. Stereotyping, it's very easy to do. And the reason why it's easy to do, where do you think stereotypes come from?
Probably like back in the day when they used to do like social classes and stuff, so maybe that's like part of the stereotypes.
Yeah, and if you even look at different countries where there's like a caste system or there is that sort of thing, that's where you can look at those sort of stereotypes. But obviously, history repeats itself, so where we might get stereotypes in this country is because of history tells us that, oh, this is what this culture likes. So instead of trying to understand the culture, we make fun of the culture or identify it as being different from ours. And so, truly, can you say something's a stereotype, or is that actually someone's culture? The problem comes in when you just generalize everything. For example, I think a good one is, I think in this country, we do have diversity in religion. But one of the big mistakes that we make is when we're talking about things like terrorism, we assume that all Muslims go to the mosque as much as we assume all Americans go to church, and that's just not true. That's not true. Most people, I would say there's a good percentage of the population in the United States that doesn't go to church. And I'd say there's a good percentage of people in Muslim countries that don't go to a mosque and just go about their day-to-day business just like everybody else does. But that's what you're doing, is people are just making generalizations. Same thing when you make generalizations about different genders. Well, girls they aren't good at math. That's
or
one
they
of
like pink.
Right. And I think that's pretty ridiculous. I know when I was in school, most of the girls I knew were better at math than the boys. So, but yet they actually tell you, the teachers then did tell us that, oh, well, statistically, boys are better at math than girls are. But then we also had more. It's just weird to hear that coming from a female teacher. Why a female teacher would tell you that and promote another sex is a little bit weird. But I can see where that's a pet peeve. Any other specific stereotypes or that sort of thing that you're talking about?
I don't know.
Alrighty. Then what is next on your list?
People who smack their gum.
People who smack their gum. Oh, that drives me up a freaking wall. Isn't that your friends that do that?
Parents.
Not this parent.
No,
I don't
the
do that.
other one.
No, yeah, it drives me crazy. My mom did that all the time. It's very annoying. But if you ever asked for a piece of gum from my mom, she never had any. or you'd get like half a piece.
That's what I do.
Oh, yeah.
People ask me for gum, I give them a half a piece.
Why bother if you're only giving me half a piece?
Why not?
Anyway, okay. People who smack their gum. Okay. Yeah, there's not much I can say about that one. That's obnoxious.
Yeah.
What else you got?
People who copy each other's lives and then they say like that they're not and stuff.
Copy each other's lives?
Yeah.
What's it? Give me an example of that.
There's this girl in my class and she basically says all the stuff that I say, or like I'll say something and then like 10 seconds later she'll say it, or she like does like the exact same stuff that I do.
So why don't you just make up stories?
I guess, yeah.
I think that I would have a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah.
There's a really good one that your mother does sometimes when people are starting. Because people do that all out throughout your age. If you tell a story, somebody has to have a better story than you. That's always the way people, there's this big sense of one-upsmanship. So when you run into people like that, a lot of times your mom will say, and I invented the color blue, which is pretty funny. But yeah, I would just start making up some serious stories. Like, what good story would you come up with?
I have no idea.
Yeah, you got to come up with something good. You know, something really good. You woke up this morning. You took a space shuttle to school. You know, anything that's just totally off the wall bizarre. And if they repeat what you said, then obviously they're a complete moron.
Yeah.
I had shit for breakfast. Oh, see, I swore. And I was trying not to do that. I had a big pile of doo-doo for breakfast. Did you also have a pile of doo-doo for breakfast? No. Okay, well then stop copying my life then. What else you got?
I really don't like when like smokers or like vapors or alcoholics like do that. Like, not necessarily do it. I mean, some people do it for like stress relief or something, but like I still don't think that's the answer to stuff.
So you run into a lot of smokers?
No, I'm just saying that I don't think that's the right.
You don't think smoking is a good thing?
No, not at all.
Is there kids your age that smoke?
In this generation, yes.
Yes, there is. I often yell at people who, if you're younger than,
18.
I would say, if you are younger than 25 years old, there's no reason for you to be smoking.
Yeah. Because
we've known forever that smoking is bad for you. But now it's pounded into your head that smoking is bad for you. It's in the media, it's everywhere, it's in advertisements telling you that smoking's bad, yet people still take up smoking.
Mm-hmm.
That makes absolutely no sense to me. And it's not even just naturally always about the proven health benefits of not smoking. It's how much money do you spend on a pack of cigarettes, you dumb butt. So I always yell at people when I find out they smoke. Interestingly enough, I do run into people occasionally who are adults who started smoking, and they're like in their 40s.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just really perplexed. I'm like, why would you start smoking at the age of 40-something? And then I do not actually at a loud acoustic type yell at them, but I do tell them that that's not a good, I'm like, didn't your mother tell you not to do this? And what about, were you talking about alcohol? Hey, you're at about the age now where your kids in your class are drinking.
I don't know.
Oh, sure. Well, unless they've greatly changed over the years, this would be about the age when I know that my friends would be sneaking a beer from their dad or whatever, or going to parties where somebody was able to get a hold of something. But you think nobody among the nerddom is drinking?
I haven't heard anything.
No. Well, that's surprising. If that's true, that's good. But there's a lot of exposure there. So you're saying that you're talking about people who excessively drink. You're not talking about somebody who has like a glass of wine occasionally.
Yeah, I'm talking about excessive.
I was going to say, because your mom and I do not really drink. We rarely ever drink. Do you ever see us drink? Hardly ever at all.
I mean, I guess.
Oh, okay. We'll see. So you got some decent parents. What's next on your list?
People who support Team Jacob instead of Edward.
Well, I would think that probably, does anybody even your age even know what the heck that is?
Yeah, they do.
Also, is that because everybody's parents made them watch those movies or made them read the books?
No, there's a girl in my class, and I mean, she's not a Team Jacob, but we're both Team Edward, and we'll talk about it a lot.
Now, if you were to like actually ask the other members of your class, would they know what the heck you're talking about?
I'd say about like a third of them might.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Because you are kind of a product of your, you're a product. You're going to be exposed to what your parents are interested
Yeah.
in. That's why I like some of the music that I like is because of my parents. Other than that, they weren't very culturally into anything that they shared. But so yeah, I can see. We made you watch those. Well, we didn't make you. We just kind of thought you would like watching them, so you watched them, and then you got all teary-eyed and cried when Edward broke up with Bella, and you cried like a baby.
I wouldn't call it a baby.
Well, it was pretty pathetic to watch you cry, watching that particular scene in the movie. But I would suspect that you could probably find more people, not even like my age, because that was beyond, probably more like your brother's age, that you could find more Team Edward and Team Jacob people. So probably the people in their 20s.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend you actually read a book instead of just watch movies, though. That'd probably be a better idea.
I guess. I mean, I already know the plot. So
Yeah,
really,
so
what's
you're
the
gonna get so much more from a
point?
book than you get from a movie. But you're too young to read those books, though, according to your brother. So anyway, what do you got next?
When I'm smiling at my phone and someone goes, "Who you texting?" Like, it's my best friend. Do you have a problem with our comedy or something?
Is that the whole conversation that takes place every single time if somebody sees you smiling at your phone?
Yeah, mostly.
So they say, "Hey, who are you texting?" And you say,
What's my best friend? What is the problem with comedy in this world?
"Okay." And you find that most people don't have a sense of humor? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Or they don't understand your sense of humor?
both.
What is your sense of humor, do you think? Are you more slapsticky? Or are you like bathroom comedy?
It all depends.
What do you think you like the most?
I don't know. Bathroom comedy is kind of funny. Yes.
Well, which comedians who do you like? What comedians do you? Like that one guy,
Yeah.
and then I like that one guy.
Bo Burnham was pretty good, and then there was the other one. Do you remember that one?
Which one?
I don't remember.
You know, like Trevor Noah
Yeah,
or
Trevor Noah.
Jim
That's what it was.
Gaffigan? You like Jim Gaffigan?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, a really pale guy.
Yeah.
He talks about food all the time. Does a little voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like him too. So you like a kind of a good range of comedy. You haven't been really exposed to like the super harsh comedy or anything yet. But you probably watch a lot of YouTube stuff too, though, right?
Yeah, like old vines and stuff. Those are funny.
Okay, yeah. So that's kind of the difference, is the difference with the different media exposure that you have. When I grew up, obviously we had 4 TV channels. We originally had 3, and then I think we ended up with 4. We didn't have cable, so comedy was very benign on television. And then you could watch different comedy in movies. So the exposure is a little bit different. And now you have that multimedia resources where you can watch stuff on YouTube, and you could watch a video and actually follow somebody who has like a big following. You could say, "Hey, Dad, have you seen so-and-so?" And I'll be like, "I don't even know who that is."
Yeah.
And there's a guy that I watch on Instagram, and he's pretty funny. He does a little funny thing. But I never would have thought that somebody was going to use Instagram as a source for their media outlet.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pretty funny. I don't recommend him to you, though, because he says it's another one of those explicit comedies that maybe you don't need to see, but he's pretty funny. And that, I guess, the kind of cool thing about that, as opposed to doing YouTube, is that he has a very limited amount of time. If you're going to post a video on Instagram, it needs to be less than a minute.
Yeah.
So the amount of work that you do to do less than 1 minute is pretty impressive. Yeah, I might show you. Anyway, so what do you got next?
Homophobics kind of annoy me.
Yeah, they annoy me too. Would you actually run into homophobics in school?
Yeah.
See, I think that that's a direct reflection of your upbringing. So if you have somebody who's at your age who's homophobic,
It's their parents.
it's their parents.
Yeah.
And I know that again, though, that's me making a general statement. That's a blanket statement, which is not a fair statement to make. However, at your age, you are still a product of your parents, even though you've you've already decided what your identity is. You decided what your identity was basically when you came out of the womb. You decided who you were going to be. But not everybody's like that. So everybody is a product of their upbringing. So if you have kids in this day and age now who are homophobic, that's kind of surprising, because you are more likely to have people in your generation and the generation older than you who've already expressed themselves as maybe having some homosexual tendencies, and that's okay. And the last thing that you want them to experience is backlash. And that backlash is, you always have to ask people why they hate what they hate, or why do you hate something? Do you understand it? Does it harm you in some way? Does it bother you in some way? And if it doesn't, then what is the point of, does it affect you in any way?
Yeah.
Is it all of a sudden, are they going to say, well, no, we've decided that homosexuality is the standard, and you all have to be homosexual now, even though you don't want to be?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a ridiculous notion, right? That's a ridiculous notion. But it's the same notion that we're saying to people who are homosexual, that you must be heterosexual. That's the norm. That's the standard. So if you are running into people who are homophobic, yeah, I can't imagine that how are they not a product of their home environment?
Yeah.
They're a product of somebody saying things, making references, making jokes, etc., etc., etc. I will tell you, because obviously I'm quite a bit older than you as your father, but I would say I was never homophobic. It just didn't affect me in any way, because my early years as an adult, I was in the Army. If you were homosexual, nobody knew.
Mm-hmm.
If there were homosexuals, I'm sure I had friends that were, but we never knew, because they could have been kicked out. All kinds of things could have happened to them for being homosexual. So that was not part of my culture. The first two jobs I had, the first job I had outside of the Army, the main head waiter, bartender, who was a good friend of mine, was a homosexual male, and our boss was a homosexual male. So I got some good exposure there with meeting those guys and understanding that a little bit. And then my second job was the same way. And then I've just been able to understand it a little bit better by being a healthcare provider. So if you're running into that at school, that's surprising, and it's sad.
Yeah.
Because you guys know that eventually one of your friends, or as you get older, you're going to find out that they're homosexual, and the last thing obviously that they need to do is feel oppressed in any way.
Yeah.
Just like anybody else.
Isn't it 1 in 7 men are gay, and then 1 in 5 women are lesbian?
I have no idea.
I think that's what it is.
I'd say that's probably pretty close to accurate. If it seems like, I don't know. I would think that the statistics would be higher for men to be gay than women. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say, but the statistics can be skewed a little bit, because I would say, at least in the United States, there's probably more women than men. So maybe that's why. So you have to take that into account also. But if you had an equal number of men and an equal number of women, and you did that out and proportioned it, you might be able to find it that way. Okay, so what do you got next then?
When people take credit for my work.
So like when you wrote the great American novel and someone else stole your work.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yes, this happens to you all the time. And what are you specifically talking about?
Well, one time I unloaded the dishwasher and reloaded it, and someone took credit for my work.
That's not very life altering, but okay.
Well, it was you, but a lot of people do it actually. Teachers do it sometimes, and they won't credit me. I think I drew something for a teacher one time, or wrote a paragraph, and they copied it exactly, and they didn't credit me for it.
So you mean life in general?
Well, yeah.
Okay, because that happens throughout your entire life.
Yeah.
But again, that's one of those things where you have to look at it and say, is that a battle that I give a crap about?
It's really not, but it kind of throws a bump in your road a little bit.
Yeah, but it shouldn't affect your relationship in any way, because does it really matter in the long run?
No.
It would matter if we were talking about something super important, I developed this item here, and I'm on my way to the patent office to patent it, but I showed it to my best friend, and he went to the patent office before me, and he stole it. Maybe it matters then, but otherwise, it's does it really matter in the long run? I think that that's one of the best, probably the best lesson that I could profess to you and to your brother is don't spend your life like me thinking about those sort of things because it doesn't get you anywhere. It has got me nowhere. It's not going to get you anywhere. And that's why it's a pet peeve. Pet peeve don't have to be something that you dwell on all the time. You're like, yeah, this just kind of irks me. But it was nothing about like where you did something super amazing and that sort of thing.
No, it's not.
Pretty minor. All right, what else you got?
When bands replace good members.
Oh gosh, well that's a common phenomena. That's a common phenomena. Look at Van Halen. Look at, unfortunately, AC/DC couldn't really help it, but any band. I mean, there's lots of bands that do that, but you're talking about one specific band.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about one specific band, and we could mention the band, but then what happens if they end up listening to the podcast and they'd be like, "Oh, so that's how you feel? I see how you feel."
I mean, he already knows how I feel.
Oh well, if he already knows
knows
how
I
you
don't
feel.
like him.
Oh well, that happens, but I think is it matter for me? I would guess it's not so much that I don't like the person. It's more of I guess
No,
not.
I don't like him.
I guess I'm not a fan, but I really like the person that he replaced.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing for me, and maybe that's what skews the opinions. You're like, oh dang, I really liked this person, and now they're gone.
Yeah. They kind of replaced all the good members. They left 2, but I mean.
Well, and then you have to look at the evolution of bands and say, well, is it really the band anymore? If you have a 4-member band, and you've replaced 2 of the 4 members, is it the band that you started with anymore?
Yeah, it's really.
I would say it's not. And unfortunately, you can't change the name of the band because then you lose your fan base. You lose, the albums that you're known by, the videos that you're known by are all under that other name. But is that the band anymore? No, not really. And if you replaced any more of the original members now, it's definitely not the band.
Yeah.
Of the 2 key members, you can't replace one of them. If you replaced one of them, then I think you would lose the fan base then. Then the fan base is gone. Because I would say that those 2 band members are equal.
Yeah.
That are the remaining. And before, when there was 4 of them, the original 4, I would have said that they were equal.
Yeah, they were like kind of the heart of the group instead.
Yeah, each one of them brought something. Each one of them had their own little fan base. Each one of them was a unique individual. Instead of it being, you didn't think of them just as a band. You thought of each individual person by their personality. But no, that irks the crap out of me. Also, the only time that I'd say that it probably didn't bother me was with AC/DC back in the day, but that was because Bon Scott died. And Brian Johnson replaced him, but he was like they always knew that would. They almost said that I can't remember if I read this in the book about them or saw it in their TV or their movie or whatever video that said that it was almost as if he predicted that could happen someday, and he said if anything ever happened to me, this is the guy that I want. But now it's like no, it's not good because of people dying off and people having to quit because of their hearing or whatever. So. The old AC/DC lives in memory, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, so that's all I have to say about that. What else you got?
Hypochondriacs.
Hypochondriacs, like you.
No.
Yeah, you're kind of a hypochondriac.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you're kind of a hypochondriac.
No.
Okay, so give me some examples of hypochondriacs then.
Well, here's just a random one. There was a kid in my class, and he claimed he sprained his ankle, yet we all know he didn't because he would switch legs on his crutches, or in gym he would sprint and he wouldn't even care about it. And then he would go back to his crutches looking like nothing ever happened. And we would all see him switch legs too.
Well, maybe he sprained both of them.
No, he didn't.
And so how long was this kid on crutches?
I would say 2 days. Yeah.
Well, you could have a minor low-grade sprain that you could... I mean, if I sprained my ankle, I'm going to still do everything I do.
Yeah.
I would have to have a very high-grade ankle sprain, like a grade 3 or grade 4, in order for me not to do what I want to do.
Yeah, like when I played on the basketball, the game, like that hurt, but like I mean, I guess I went through it anyway.
Yeah, the big difference, though, and what I was trying to tell you is that there's a big difference between you and me. The reason why I would still do it is because who gives a shit? Dang it. Who gives a poop? I'm 45 years old. If I damage that, it's not like I'm going to live another 70, 80 years.
Mm.
You, on the other hand, you actually damage that. You're only 12. You've got your entire life where you might have to deal with some messed up ankle. So that's where I get a little bit. I'm like, just be more careful. But for me, it's like, who cares? I've already done enough damage. It doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah, that's kind of like how I don't really care about my hip and knee anymore. Like, they hurt every now and then. But, like, if I do something, I don't really care about it because I know I can't really fix that.
Well, the advantage, too, is that you know that if it was... You've got resources that can help you with it, too. It's not like when I was growing up as a kid, if something hurt, my parents, one, I didn't go to the doctor. Two, they were like, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like the type of work that they did where they would actually say, oh, you need to do this or you need to do that or whatever. At least you have those resources available to you. That's different. But, again, we also are very cautious about not wanting you to do any long-term damage.
Yeah.
And hypochondriacs, I don't know if you're at an advantage or a disadvantage because you're really not a hypochondriac. And even your brother, though he can be a little whiny about some stuff, he's not a hypochondriac either because we've taught you guys that most stuff means nothing.
Yeah.
We're like, this is probably why it's happening and it's not that big of a deal. And the minor complaints that you have, believe it or not, I'll see patients for those complaints all the time. And I'm like, really? This is what your complaint is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's up to, I would say, a good 50, 60% of my day. These very minor complaints that are basically nothing. My nose started running yesterday.
Okay.
Okay. And what can I do about your nose that just started running yesterday? What time yesterday? Just before I went to bed. Okay, it's now 9 o'clock in the morning. And so you're talking like a few hours that your nose started running. Okay, that's fine. And next.
Yeah.
So what else you got?
People who try to get sympathy just for attention.
Aw. Well, okay. That's a normal human thing. Sympathy for stupid things or sympathy in general? Without a reason.
Both, I guess. Most of them are pretty stupid.
Like what?
I guess there's like people hurt their arm or something, and then they'll be like, oh guys, look, I hurt my arm, oh wow.
Uh-huh.
Or like how the kid in my class was doing the sprints and stuff. He wanted sympathy, so he put crutches on and stuff.
Uh-huh. So, when that happens, I guess I would just kick the crutches out from under him.
Yeah, people try to do that to me when I was on crutches.
Well, you actually did hurt your ankle, so I don't know. That's a good way to feel to discern if they're actually using their crutches or not. Okay, let me just kick that out. It would be nice if you could do the things in life in your head that you really want to do.
Yeah.
There used to be a show on when I was a kid that I loved with Fred Savage called The Wonder Years, and it was a regular sitcom and situation type comedy, and then he would have something like that, and he would think in his head like the situation would play, and it was as if it actually happened, but it was really his imagination, and then the real situation would play. And life would be kind of fun if you could actually do the stuff that you wanted to do, that you were thinking about. Admittedly, everybody would be walking around injured all the time because of all the stupid things people did. But if you could do the things that you wanted to do without people getting hurt and without hurting people's feelings, I think life would be a lot more fun. Like if somebody said to me, hey, look, I hurt my arm. If you said, oh, let me see that. And then you looked at their arm and then you just hit it really hard. You're like, oh, okay, and walked away. Something like that would be a lot of fun. Or like somebody said, oh, here, I sprained my wrist. And you're like, oh, here, let me look at it. And then you crank on their wrist really hard. You're like, oh, yeah, it looks fine to me.
Yeah.
If you could do those things that you're really thinking about doing but not hurting anybody and getting a good laugh out of it and they laughed, life would be grand.
Yeah.
Kind of like if everybody could not have to wake up before 9 a.m. in the morning, I think life would be better.
That would be great.
So what's next on the list?
When something you've thought out really well doesn't go the way that it should have.
That's life in general.
Yeah.
Do you have an example?
I I think for my Innovation Day project, when we did the chewing gum, that didn't really turn out the way that we really wanted it
well,
to.
it's delicious. Was it not delicious?
It was disgusting.
But the idea was good.
Yeah.
But then you also have to look at the fact that if you were really trying to make a project like that, to come up with it, one, you come up with the idea first, which might take you forever. And then you have your planning stage, and then you've got your implementation, and then your data on it, your data collection. It's not like something that would take place in even 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea was good, but you can, there's the benefit and the value to doing those things because you learn about the planning process or coming up with an idea and working together as a team. So that's all good. What else in general in life goes like that though?
I don't know. Sometimes like papers don't go out that way. Like you'll have this idea, and when you write about it, it doesn't really work along with the rest of the plot.
No, yeah. I would say that I would give you good advice on that, but the truth is that happens all the time. Or you think that even if you do a presentation, you're like, oh, this is how I'm going to do the presentation. And then you completely blow it, or you forget the main points or whatever, and it still turns out okay, and you're like, oh, it wasn't so bad. But no, that's kind of life in general. Things never go out, and that's why you have planning and practice and training and all other things, because it's always going to be something that gets a little bit off. But that's why you prepare for it. But yeah, you guys really didn't have that much time to prepare, but it was good to learn that crunch time and to come up with an idea.
Yeah. My next one is when people think that they're good at something and they brag about it, but they really suck at it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that drives you crazy.
Yeah.
And what examples do you have?
Basketball. When people will get on the team that you want and they'll brag about it and talk about it at school and stuff, and really they're not very good at it. They're just gonna get benched, like you said.
No, I didn't say that. Who said that? I didn't say that. Did I say that?
Yes, you said it in the car.
I was making a generalization, and it's true, though. Everybody thinks that, okay, so you're at a disadvantage because you were raised by me, and I think I'm not good at anything. So you're kind of not that way. You don't think you suck at stuff. So you lucked out on that aspect. Maybe that's because we positively reinforce you and say, yeah, you don't really suck.
Mm-hmm.
We might tell you you're not that good, but nobody else is good. Like we used to do that with you when you play volleyball. We're like, yeah, you guys suck.
Yeah.
But you all suck. And you're all learning, and it's your first year, and you're learning how to do it, and you play pretty good. What I don't want you to do is for you to always say, oh, yeah, I suck at this. It's okay for you to suck at something. Like I say it all the time about jiu-jitsu. I'm like, yeah, I suck at jiu-jitsu, which I do. But I'm a little bit better than I was 5 years ago. So at least I've made some progress. So it's the importance of recognizing that. But if you've got people that just straight up suck at something, but they think they're awesome at it, yeah, that drives me up a freaking wall.
Yeah, because you want to tell them, but really you don't, because
yeah,
it's gonna...
Well, you don't. One, that makes you a bad person if you told them that. And you don't want to be a bad person. You don't want to bust their bubble. Even though in your head you're like,
popping this would be great.
Yeah, this would be great, right? Again, it goes back to my perfect world of saying like, oh, yeah, if you had the perfect world and somebody said to you, hey, daughter, I'm the best basketball player ever, and I'm gonna make this team. What do you think about that?
You suck.
And it's like pop. Yeah, but I always thought that too when we would do like. We would go to like karate tournaments and stuff, and everybody was like, "Oh, I'm so great," blah blah blah. I'm like, I could totally choke you out very easily. I can choke you out very easily. I could snap your elbow, whatever, and blah blah blah. You may be able to hit me 4 times, but I'm used to being hit, so I can get to you and take you out. So it doesn't matter if you can win your little tournament or whatever. But lots of people are like that. At least I think that, again, it goes back to flipping it around and saying we should be happy for them that they have that confidence.
Yeah.
So we have to work on ourselves. And sadly, that's the lesson that I'm coming to at the age of like 40 when I should have been working on this for the past 30 years. But that's all about your upbringing again. So that's why I try to tell you guys to be more positive about yourself and more positive about the things around you so that it doesn't get you down. You don't want to be petty and jealous. What else you got?
Ball hogs.
Ball hogs? That's like any sport. The only
Yeah.
time you can't really hog a ball is baseball, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, football, you wouldn't really do very well if you were playing football. You can't really ball hog. You have to pass that ball or you're going to get tackled. But soccer, volleyball, basketball. Basketball is probably the big one.
I think soccer and basketball are the big ones.
Yeah, and it would be hard to be a ball hog in soccer because the field is so large. You know, they are already running like, if you played on a regulation field, I bet they run like 12 miles.
Midfielders are known for ball hogging. Like, I know someone who's a midfielder and he ball hogs a lot.
Well, yeah, I guess I'm just more of a fan of utilizing your available resources. In other words, if I've got 5 players, why would I want the ball all the time? I think that, one, you can cover more distance if you're going to pass. That's the same thing for soccer. I'm like, why would I want to be the one who runs the ball all the way down when I could pass to somebody who's already downfield? But again, it's a different mindset. I guess it's a glory thing. But I guess if you get the taste of that glory early on in life and you're used to having it, when you don't have it, it's harder for you to take glory as a member of a team. Maybe. I don't know because I never got to live that life. I have no idea. I've always been the not good player.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Weird mouth and stomach noises when you're eating in a quiet room.
Yeah, I don't think that started bothering me till this year.
When I told you that it was bothering me?
Well, I think that it's always a problem if you're with someone who's eating if you're not eating.
Yeah, it is.
If you're eating, you don't notice it. But yes, if you're even someone that you really like and care about, if they're eating next to you, and it's very noticeable and horrible and horrifying. It's horrifying.
Yeah, I try not to do it. Like, I'll try and eat quietly if someone's next to me and they're not eating. I'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna tone down a little bit.
Yeah, your brother's a big one on that. He eats very loudly. So does your mom.
Yes, she does.
Or when
so
she
bad.
eats like grapefruits, and she's like Gollum from The Lord of the Rings, eating the raw fish is what it's like. It is gross.
Yeah.
But I think that I saw, well, of course you always see these things on Facebook. There was something on Facebook about that. Somebody had posted something about it, like a little video. And it was, I swear it was something crazy like saying, if that bothers you, then you're a psychopath. I'm like, what? How are you not on that? How does it not bother you? All right, what else you got?
Drama queens. Like, I mean, I'm a drama queen and everything, but like,
You're a minor. You're a funny drama queen.
Yeah,
in other words, yours isn't real. You're not a real drama queen.
Yeah, I know a ton of people that are like way worse than I am, and it's just annoying.
Yeah, when they're real drama queens, my knee-jerk reaction is always saying, "Are they kidding?"
Yeah, are they kidding or are they serious? Because if they're serious, I'm gonna punch them in the face.
Right, because if they're kidding, you're like, "Oh, they're being funny."
Yeah.
But if they're serious, and a lot of them are, you're like, "What the? They're really serious about this?" Yeah, that's very frustrating. I think it's very hard for you in general. I think it's way worse for girls because guys aren't.
Guys aren't that much of drama queens unless
really
they're like
queens.
really petty and stuff.
Yeah, unless it's changing as generations go by. And I know I do make fun of like your brother's generation and your generation because everybody seems to be getting wimpier and wimpier. But even in your brother's generation, I can't remember anybody being a true drama queen.
Yeah.
But it's very common among females. I guess that's why they call it being a drama queen. But no, I always do the same thing. I'm only like, are they kidding? Or is this really serious?
Yeah.
But you don't have a lot of exposure to that, do you?
No, I do.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But not your close friends.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean,
people.
People, yeah. People can be some drama queens and they can be like funny, but like others, especially like some on the basketball team, they'll be like talking or something and they'll just be like, "Oh my god." And I'm like, "Seriously right now?"
Do you think it's more that they're having we do what's called being, the devil's advocate, where you look at the other point of view. Do you think it is that you are so much not a drama queen because of the way we raised you? Or do you think that they are just extreme drama queens?
I feel like it's a little bit of both. Because, like, I can be pretty chill and laid back sometimes. But, like, other people, when they're just, like, screaming at the top of their lungs because they're, like, dramatic and stuff, that can get really annoying.
I think you get a lot of your chill factor from your exposure to your older brother because very little rattles him. He's like Mr. Mellow most of the time. So that's kind of contagious where you got that good exposure to him of being Mr. Meh, oh well, you know.
Yeah.
It didn't work 100% with you because you still get riled up about a lot of stuff. But
yeah, I do.
It's pretty hard to rile him up. He's pretty mellow. He got the mellow gene. He got the what I would call the golden retriever, middle-aged golden retriever gene.
Yeah,
like our dog has, where he's like, oh yeah, I'm just kind of chilled out. I'm just gonna sit here and watch the world go by.
Yeah. Another one is when people say that all water tastes the same. It really, it just doesn't.
Well, water, if it's real water, should taste like basically nothing.
But it doesn't.
But it doesn't because all water does not taste the same. Even the bottled waters don't taste the same.
Bottled waters are
tap water
gross.
tastes different from city water, and there's additives, and there's minerals, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, all water does not taste the same.
Yeah, especially like the Fiji water or whatever it is. It says that it's real water, and it really just tastes like plastic mixed with iron or something. It's meh.
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, I won't drink, like, Aquafina. I don't like Aquafina. I don't think it tastes good. I like Dasani. And I actually like Fiji.
I don't really like it.
But most of them, I think, don't taste good, or they taste like they came right out of somebody's tap. Like Geyser and all those other ones, they taste like they just came out of the tap. There's not much regulation on the water anyway.
I like the mountain one. What is that? It's got like a green background and there's blue mountains or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one I like if it's cold, but if it's warm, it doesn't taste very good.
Yeah, and even people's tap water doesn't taste the same. You can tell the difference if they have a water softener, if they don't have a water softener, if it's city water, if it's country water, if it's my parents' water tastes different from our water. Yeah, all water does not taste the same. That's when somebody says that, they don't drink water. There's somebody who doesn't drink water. They're just, they're probably like pop drinkers or juice drinkers or something like that because they don't drink water.
Like, I'm a water drinker and I can tell if it doesn't taste the same. Like, even if it's in like Crystal Light or something, I can tell that it doesn't taste the same as ours.
Oh, yeah. Well, and you can tell too by what container it's in.
Yeah.
I personally like to drink water out of a coffee mug because I like how water tastes coming off of, what is that, porcelain? What is that? What are coffee mugs made out of? I don't know. Whatever they're made out of. I think that water tastes better coming out of those than it does coming out of glass. Whatever.
I don't really like people who smile too much.
Oh, that's what you call people who like to blow smoke up your hiney. That's what I call them. The smiley people. Because you know there's a serial killer deep inside.
Yeah, like my Spanish teacher, you could tell she's like something. She's on something.
She probably popped a bunch of heads off her Barbies when she was a kid.
Oh, I did that.
You did not.
I did.
I don't remember that. You didn't even have any Barbies.
I had like 3 Barbies, and 2 of them I popped heads off of, and the other one I kind of liked because I liked doing their hair.
Okay. All right, well, take that serial killer reference away then. People who smile too much. Oh, I don't like the people who have different smiles. So I don't mind a fake smile, but I hate the fake smile when you know that they're just being mean jerks. And they're saying stuff that is just not right, but they're smiling. And you know that they hate you, but they're smiling. I hate people like that. That drives me crazy. I have run into some people like that. I had, she wasn't the boss, but she worked where I worked, and she had this very fake smile. I'm like, and I told her once, I'm like, you can stop smiling at me now.
Yeah, like our Spanish teacher, she would yell at you and she would smile. I've never seen her frown. Like, she would blow off steam with you and she would just be smiling the whole time. And I'm like, seriously right now?
Yeah, it's just evil.
Yeah.
It's evil and wrong.
It's so creepy.
Yeah, it is creepy because to me that's that's a psychopath. What else?
Odd numbers.
What if you're wrong and odd numbers are even?
No.
Numbers are just a system that we designed to give value to something.
I guess, but I don't know. I don't like odd numbers. They're like I'm one of those people who are like, you turn the volume up, it better not be on 9, because it's, why can't you just do one more and either make it 10 or 8?
So, see, that's an obsessive thought process.
Yeah.
But you also do that where we can mess with you, though, if there's an even number of cookies or an odd number of cookies or whatever.
Someone has to split it in half and eat it.
There you go, see? That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. That's a good way to mess with you.
Mm-hmm.
And what else?
That's it.
That's it? That's all of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that wasn't too bad. Let's see, pet peeves. I've got so many that I should probably write them down, but everything bothers me. But now I'm doing something new in life. I'm turning it around. Oh, here's a pet peeve of mine. People who don't read.
Wow, thanks.
That's a pet peeve of mine. And you know why that's a pet peeve of mine?
Because reading is fun.
Not only is reading fun, reading is informative.
Ugh.
I have a belief that you must learn every day. Now, the caveat to that is I've forgotten more than I've learned, which is unfortunate because we only absorb a very little bit of what we come exposed to on a daily basis. But we can learn a little bit each day. But it's a good thing to read. People who don't read, that bothers me. People who don't take an active interest in their health, that bothers me.
Yeah, that bothers me too.
People who don't take an active interest in their surroundings and their culture and don't take an active interest in the culture of others. Ignorance drives me crazy. Racism,
Yeah.
it's hard to get away from. I told the doc on one of our podcasts, I'm sure that I'm racist about some things. I said, but it's not that, I don't think it's a true racism issue. I think it's more like I just don't like this person. I don't think it has anything to do with anything else. And I think that's okay. I'm like, you can not like people. And the problem is when people try to spin it and say that's being racist. I'm like, it's not being racist. I just think that person's a jerk.
I have a story about that. Me and this kid in my class were talking, and he said something weird, and I said, boy. He goes, girl. I said something back, and he goes, Mexican. And I was like, hun, that's racist. He goes, I can't be racist. I'm black. I was like, that's not how that works.
But see, you should have laughed at it though.
I
was he
did
being
laugh.
serious? Was he being serious, or
No,
was he making a joke?
He was being serious. Like, I laughed at him, and he was like, no, I'm not kidding. And I told the substitute, and she starts cracking up, and I was like, no, he's being serious. And
Because she was looking at the same way I did, and I'm taking it that he was having a joke.
Yeah.
Because that's a joke that I actually say with my other friends who are minorities.
Yeah.
Because we'll do that. We do that a lot in jiu-jitsu, because in jiu-jitsu, the majority of the people I do jiu-jitsu with are white. They're all white guys, whatever Nordic or Scandinavian, whatever backgrounds, or mutt. And I'm half Mexican, and then the one guy that we do jiu-jitsu with is black. So sometimes him and I will say stuff to him, and I'll say, well, you can't say that because you're white. But I can because I'm Mexican or I'm brown. And that's a joke that I'm making. I'm making another joke off of a joke. So if I said that in all seriousness, that's a different story.
Yeah,
like
you're
I'm saying
kinda
it to be fun.
stupid.
Yeah, you're stupid if you're saying that.
Yeah.
Like, no, what difference does it make if you're black?
Mm-hmm.
What does it make if you're brown? It doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference if you're white.
Yeah.
It's all racism.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, if he was being funny, that's one thing. That's funny. But he wasn't being funny. That's sad.
No, he was completely serious. I
Oh,
was like, dude, are you serious right now? He goes, yeah, I'm serious. And I was like, you're
I'm
kind of
like,
dumb.
you don't understand what racism is.
Yeah.
You don't understand what it is.
He doesn't understand what sexism is either. Because, like, I'll be talking or something, like, quietly to my friend or something, and I'll be talking about how, like, a teacher is sexist, and he'll be like, yeah, it's so sexist, she does blah, 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 and I'm like, that's not even what we're talking about, that's not even sexism.
Well, maybe you should just explain it to him.
I have.
Oh, well, then.
He doesn't care.
Oh, well, if he doesn't care, then there's more than one issue there.
Yeah.
Well, that's sad. Well, okay, so what's your plan then for the next the Beaveman and the Daughter episodes? You're going to talk about something more serious next time? Or you're going to bust out some stand-up comedy from from what you got in your repertoire? There's dead silence there. Is that you're not going to bust out? You're not going to bust out your stand-up routine?
I'm not very funny, so I don't really know.
Oh, so there's not going to be any stand-up routine from the Daughter.
Probably not, no.
Okay, well then for now then, I will just say adios, muchachos. Until next time, this is the Beaveman.
And the Daughter, I guess.
Saying goodbye.